Amigas y amigos, buenos días. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Gracias a Poder por convocarnos para hablar sobre uno de los temas que es, en definitiva, de los más relevantes que nos toca acometer. Let me start off, however, by saying that I also feel tremendously privileged and honored not only to be here with all of you this morning, but very particularly with Don Stefan Schmidt-Heine. When Stefan started talking about sustainable development and making good business sense out of sustainability, nobody was addressing this issue. He has not only been a visionary, he has followed that leadership, that vision up with actual, a tremendous amount of leadership, and he has done things in a way that is an inspiration for action. So thank you, Stefan, for your leadership of all these years. Now then, can we reverse the present trends on which we are embarked? Well, in the next 50 years, we will be 9 billion people. Of the 9 billion people, 1.2 billion will come from the developed world and 7.8 billion from the developing world. If the 7.8 want to live like the 1.2 live today, obviously that is not a starting point if we want to reverse the challenges of climate change. So, I would say that we're up to a very challenging task. I have no doubt today that we're going to do 3 things in our lifetime, and especially in the lifetime of the next generation. We are going to mitigate, we are going to adapt, and we are going to suffer. Those 3 things. Now, the good news is that we can still choose the mix between mitigation, adaptation, and suffering, depending on what we do or we do not do. Perhaps a sensible way to start off would be to pick the low-hanging fruit. And because of what energy means in our life today and its contributions to emissions and climate change, there is a lot that we need to do in the energy equation. Clearly, again, not easy, not easy. To begin with, if I can get my page back, thank you. To begin with, oil. There is no clear substitute for oil. We're going to have it for the next 30 or 40 years, whether we like it or not. I was speaking about this yesterday with Stefan, and he said something that drives the point home with all clarity. Oil is today, in the economic system of the world, like the blood that we have in our body. And now, all of a sudden, we're called to reinvent that blood. We have to take the blood out of our system, and we have to put something in there as a substitute that is going to do everything that blood does in our bodies. Clearly, a very challenging proposition. Second, we have coal reserves, especially in this energy-hungry country. And then we have issues to deal with, like China and India. China alone is building the equivalent of 2 500-mega coal plants per week. Per week. 2 500-mega coal plants per week. Bueno. So where do we go? Of course, if we want to diminish our energy footprint, we should look at renewables. And yes, there is a lot that we can do in terms of hydro, geothermal, wind, solar. I come from a country that has about 90% of its energy already in renewables. Not an easy task. If we look at renewables more in detail, some of them are mired in regulatory and financial challenges. They take a long time, and we're not moving forward at the speed we should. J.P. Moscarella of EcoEnergy, who is here with us, is very much involved in a 50-megawatt wind project in Costa Rica. Now, this is a country that already has 90% in renewables, has understood that good sustainable development is a good business proposition, and yet this project is going along at the pace of a snail, slower than molasses, because it is mired in all types of regulatory intricacies. So can we imagine what it would mean in changing that for the rest of the world that still does not see a clear vision with respect to renewables? There is one renewable, and this is the point that I want to make, which is easy, fast, rapid, non-contentious. And that is the one that I would like to promote. And that is something called the negawatt, or in other words, the saved watt. It is much cheaper and easier to save a watt than to produce a watt. I come from Spain. Last week, they released data in Spain that 7% of Spain's energy footprint is consumed by appliances that people leave on standby while we leave our office or go to sleep or go home. Imagine that. 7% of the energy footprint consumed by appliances that we leave and stand by. Stefan talked about eco-efficiency this morning. That is even a further developed concept than the eco-efficiency that I would be talking about and proposing here. It is easily understood. It should not be controversial. It is cost-effective because it pays for itself in its own lifetime. And besides, it would unite the developing and the developed world together. You know, no longer this argument of the South saying to the North, you polluted when you were developing, now it's my turn to pollute. No, we can all work on eco-efficiency. The International Energy Agency's World Energy Outlook of last year says that 65% of world's mitigation potential is in energy efficient. 65% of the mitigation potential in energy efficiency. And of course, if you looked at the portfolio of the CDM, only 6% of it is coming from energy efficiency. So yes, there is a tremendous opportunity here if we move in that direction. It requires 3 sets of actions, and with this I finish. It requires, first of all, governments need to get their act together and give us clear policy environments. Clear policy environments in which markets can act. When I was president, it's not easy or popular. You know? When I was president of my country, I put together a carbon emission tax, 15%, not easy and certainly not popular. But that is a type of measures that we need. We need to address the market failures so that markets can thrive in eco-efficiency. And of course, we also need a plan for local implementation that we can scale up and replicate at the global level. It requires a different approach. Jonathan Lash, who spoke to us this morning, I once heard him say, sustainable development is too important to be left in the hands of governments by themselves. Yes, it actually is. We all need to be committed. Commitment means, for example, I am very happy that this is a carbon neutral forum, but commitment also means that we could all go back from this forum and say, what can I do? Well, we can all put forward the proposition and act on it that our family will have a carbon neutral footprint by the end of the year. Thank you very much.